Ooh. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a WrestleSlam podcast. This is your only place, the only place to listen to your local wrestling news, be it Irish, American, national, anywhere else you can. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's myself, Matt Murphy, back at it again with the hosting duties. I don't know how I got back into it. Joining us is the one and only Jerry Cortland. Jerry, how are you, my lad?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling emotional because our own Phil Connolly isn't with us at the moment. He's away in Cork, Indy. So anyone in the Cork area wants to watch exclusive films, please check it out and just give our own Phil a high five because we miss him already. And this week's host she is none other than she's wrestling journalist, so you know that she's professional. She is a woman on the field. Been checking out any of the anything wrestling related, anything at all, because she is the host of the Wrestling Republic Sunday Night Spotlight, writer for the WrestleSlam net. Forget Joe Hendry, say her name, and she shall appear. She is Megan Ambers. How's things, Megan?
Good afternoon or good evening to you, gentlemen. I'm good. I'm just so grateful to have been asked to be a part of your platform. I'm a little sleep deprived, but I am doing well.
As long as you're doing well, that's the main thing, you know that. Yeah, that's the best way to put it afternoon, because you'd be so busy you can't think of time, and you're just like, oh yeah, there's a bit of a time difference from the States and Ireland. So, but no, you're a busy woman, like I said from the beginning. So thank you very much for joining with us, being the guest. So
Thank you for
yeah.
asking me.
Yeah. So, well, everyone listening, believe it or not, may already know who you are, maybe not, but they will at the end of this episode. Megan, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your origin story when it comes to wrestling and just yourself in general?
Ooh, well, I have been a journalist for near a decade.
Mhm.
um, Working for different platforms in the States, The Source Magazine, Blarity, Revolt TV, which was formerly owned by a guy that's currently in some hot waters right now, and many of other different publications. And so about a year ago, I I was stemming from a burnout from writing constantly, and I needed that break. And so I started watching wrestling again after years from, just just lifing. And I'm watching the shows, I'm studying the storylines, I'm learning these new characters, these new personalities, and I'm finding myself having so many opinions about what's going on, whether it's in the ring or out of the ring. And it kind of gave me that motivation to start writing again. And so a friend of mine's told me, hey, Wrestling Republic is looking for writers. Why don't you reach out, send them your stuff, and see where it goes? And so it took a minute. It took a minute before I started writing. I reached out in December. The first article didn't come out until just before WrestleMania, um, just because of being away from writing for so long. I was really dealing with a heavy load of imposter syndrome. Like, I just wasn't really confident in my editorial skills anymore because I was covering more news instead of opinion pieces. And I just wanted to make sense on the things that I wanted to talk about. So it took a couple of months before the first article came out, which ironically was about Cody and why I felt he needed to win this time around, which he did. Um,
Spoilers.
yes, he did win. And so um, from there, I was reached out to by some of the guys at Wrestling Republic, and they said, hey, we started a new podcast, Sunday Night Spotlight, and we don't have any women on the podcast, so why don't you join and let's just fill it out and see where it goes. And so just like with the writing, I had to get used to being on camera. I've always worked behind the scenes, and just being in front of the camera for roughly 40 minutes was like standing on a ledge. Just I could get pushed off at any moment. And I've been doing that since May. And right now, it's just the consistency of getting on camera and working on my public speaking skills. It has encouraged me to start my own platform, which was supposed to be out today. I guess it'll be out tomorrow, but it was a long stretch from what I started back in December to almost a year later.
Wow, that you that wasn't a path. That was a journey that was and everything, and that was actually really cool that that you just wrote a certain piece and you got picked up. And Wrestling Republic, I know Wrestling Republic, and how long have you said you've been hosting the Sunday Night Spotlight, Manasa?
Since May. I,
Wow. Okay.
yes, it was about the same time I reached out to Cassidy of Body Slam, and just asked for an opportunity to kind of share, because I had only wrote that one article for Wrestling Republic, and now I was doing the podcasting, so I wanted to continue the writing. And so I reached out to Cassidy, due to another friend who works there. And that just kind of went from there. And I felt the structure was a little different between both brands, but it's what I needed in order to stay focused on not writing something and just wandering off in mid thought, but keeping a constructive um, outline of my opinion, why I felt that way, why you should probably feel that way, and a conclusion. Um, and then I just got this burst of confidence, I guess you could say. And then that's when I started my Medium column, which is a little bit more unfiltered, which is where the podcast stems from, where there is profanity, the thoughts is a little bit more laid back. So it's not really constructed for a main publication. It's more so feel, and it's going to come out exactly how I hear it in my head.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's always kind of the best type of articles, the best type of like thought isn't like f following the system. Like this big company said this
Right.
positive thing. I have to say the exact same. No, just really air out your opinion, even if it's if it's over the top, people will still listen. And I think that's for myself and yourself, Jerry. That's what we try and aim for WrestleSlam. Like we try and actually aim for our own thoughts. Is that right, lad?
Yeah, I think it's as you said with the WrestleSlam podcast, we set that up over 4.5 years ago, and some weeks there was been spells over the years where like there's been 3 or 4 weeks in a row like where we hadn't really got much to talk about. Like things were kind of it was the same kind of topics every week and stuff. And like even though we only do a weekly show, it was hard. But yeah, I love what Megan just said there in the sense of like, you know what I mean? Like she wrote the one article, and I suppose there was the fair factor then because you were away from the game for a while, but the fact that there was something in you that just said, let's go for it, and there's no looking back now. And even with a podcast, like as you know, a podcast can be different to being a journalist, and it's just a special thing when you find the rhythm and you enjoy it, and it's amazing. Like a lot of the time we don't see like the people that watch the show, like or they listen to the show, and like I've often been like in the city or like at a wrestling show, or even there was a time on an airplane there where we went to London, and there was a guy saying, Are you the guy from WrestleSlam? And it's them small little things, Megan and Matt, for me that like make it worthwhile. Like you know what I mean? It's essential. It's essential. And as you say, I think we're very lucky these last couple of weeks or months because there seems to be a lot of wrestling news. It's a great industry to be in. And Megan Malone, like to be a journalist is a very hard thing. Like there's a thing called writer's block. There's many things that will distract you. But she's killing it. She's doing a great job. It's great to see females take lead and show the world how it's done. And this is not just me saying this because Megan's here. I do believe, like when I read a lot of female columns, like when it comes to wrestling and other stuff, um, they're not biased. Like they say it how it is, and it's very kind of I like to engage and read it, like, and it's very appealing to me. So props to the girls, props to Megan, and you know what I mean. These girls are changing the game, and we're seeing a lot more clearer articles on websites and stuff, and I think it's great because, like, you know what I mean. There is a lot of journalists out there today that I do not rate them. I think they could be very controversial. I think they know how to get the clickbait. I think, and look, there's nothing wrong with getting clickbait. Don't get me wrong. We all need a bit of clickbait, but they're just they're bluffers, and that's the problem, you know. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But Megan, fantastic work, and I'm glad you're killing
Thank
it.
you. I
Yeah, and
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, and like you said, like Jerry said, like journalism isn't easy at all. You know, you need to have reliable sources. You need to know the right areas. There's so many people that actually is considering going down journalism, not just in wrestling, but sports or just general news, and it can be daunting.
Right.
And maybe, like, it feels like you are the professional. Like, for those who actually want to pursue this mad world of journalism, what would you say? What would Professor Amber say to the students out there?
Um, well, of course, I will always suggest that be open to learning things, you know. It will hurt you more coming into this field thinking that you know everything.
Mhm.
Because there's always going to be someone to show you that you don't know as much as you think you do. Um, but to just make friends, make as many friends as possible, keep in touch with them. Um, if there's an opportunity to where you can be of service to someone, um, make yourself available
Mhm.
because those are the people that are going to 9 out of 10 look out for you when it comes down to a job opportunity or a referral or a word of mouth because a lot of these jobs is based on word of mouth. You can have a whole decade, like I said, of experience, and you will still get passed up by the college graduate who only has worked on a college newspaper because of the folks that they know.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but you know, that's just the way that type of monopoly of the field works. Um, and just always just keep yourself in a position to expand. Because when I first came in, I was just talking about music and entertainment. So I was covering um, pop culture, like those that are popular now, a Taylor Swift, a Cardi B, you know, of those natures. And then as I grew and the jobs progressed, I started touching more social justice news and world news, which is it's literally black and white compared to music and entertainment. It's not something that I thought I would do, but when the opportunity came, I couldn't pass it up. And I will say covering those type of stories day to day can be taxing. It can take a lot on you because I am sorry if you hear my son in the background. He is just going crazy on his game. Um, but um, just a lot of those stories was just very it was too real. It was a lot of lost lives. It was situations that just caused for um, protesting. It was just a lot of the stories had to deal with children and just being a mom covering the loss of life of children can just really be hard for you. And I think that's what kind of pushed me to that burnout, having to take in that day to day, have it play in my head, and then rewrite it in a sense where it could be understood by those our readers. um it stays with you. It doesn't just go on paper and then you can empty it out. It stays with you. And so overall, just be open to taking a different route, because no, 8 years ago, would I think I would be writing about wrestling or doing a podcast about wrestling? No. But that was almost a decade ago, and I have grown since then. And I've learned that I've did those type of topics, but I'm not really interested in writing those topics anymore. Now I'm just so wrapped up in wrestling that that's where I get my overall excitement from.
Yeah. And what the gist that I kind of felt like is always expand yourself till you reach burnout and then expand yourself even further. And I think
Yeah.
when you said the more we grow older, the more we can actually be aware. So it's no harm like looking back on like your past work and just feel like, oh, I came a long way from this area. And now fast forward, you are doing like wrestling, you are doing that you feel like is right to you and that's passionate. That's oh no, not because you're here. That's actually inspiring to do. Whatever
Yeah.
you love doing, you want to pursue it, then pursue it. Just don't listen to anyone says, no, it's wrestling and all that kind of like, no, this is what you enjoy. And this is what you
Yeah.
like. Always stick with
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I mean, there are so many people that get absolute enjoyment covering boxing, covering baseball, covering football. I mean, you have NFL analysis, who is making money just talking about football. Pat McAfee, he's definitely one of the first guys that comes to my mind, a former football player. He loves the sport, he lives the sport, and somehow he has managed to combine his love for football and wrestling together, and it works. So, no, I would definitely advise people to not let people get into your head and tell you, oh, it's just wrestling. It's not real. I mean, wrestling is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And there is so many fractions and parts of wrestling. Is not just what's going on in the ring. If you're a writer like me, you probably focus on the storylines, but then it's also like the deals, like with AEW and Warner Brothers. So there's different parts of wrestling that you can cover, not just the matches and the shows itself. Like it's a huge conglomerate.
Yeah, and like you said, when it comes to journalists, if they address and just keep expanding, it's like what you said before the show is like, yeah, doing covering wrestling can be fun, but there's so much going on. It went from fun to so it just can't calm down everyone. That's the main thing. But no, Megan, that's actually good input. I learned a lot. Jerry, you're the professional. You're on the front line yourself. I feel like you're taking notes yourself.
Yeah, always learning every day, my man. Yeah, like I'd never call myself a journalist because I'm not one, but like I'd always kind of do stuff on video, and I'd always like to like do my stories on video and stuff. But it's a tough game, and like Megan actually hit a home run there when she mentioned like you could have the best journalist in the world, the journalist that does all the years, getting all the qualifications, and then you get the people like what I mean, like a journalist's son, a nephew or cousin that will get the gig and get the big write-ups because they're someone's son, nephew, such and such. That absolutely drives me insane. That's a cliche here as well. Like in today's age and today's times, like as you say, like when it comes to radio, you have a really good radio broadcaster, and then you have the TikTok star, the guy that came along in the last 6 months, and he gets the gig because he might have 100,000 followers or a million followers, and you have the poor person with the voice and that has all the degrees and they don't get the gig. It's just a different time and it is frustrating. But Megan hit the nail on the head. Like wrestling's a multi-billion-dollar franchise and company, and it's like you've got so many brands. It's a great time to be writing, and like yet again, like Megan will back it up. She knows how to write. She knows what to say, and I think the connection part for me was always the hardest part because when I go and do media stuff, even with WWE or anyone else, I am very quiet. Like when I go into a room, I interview the wrestlers and stuff, and I kind of mingle and I don't. And there was a guy said to me one day, like I could see a guy going over shaking everyone's hands and stuff, and he was introducing himself to like say, you know what I mean, next to us there was say one outlet in the US Sky Sports, and I was kind of watching it like, and I was driving a lot, driving home. I was on the airplane home, and I was saying, maybe should I do that? Like maybe should I go around and make myself more of a presence and say I'm this guy in that way, and then I'm kind of stubborn saying, if I'm putting out videos on YouTube, like where I'm interviewing Bianca Belair or like Drew McIntyre, which we done there a few months back, I'm like, like the people that see it are the people that want to see it, and I don't really mind, what I mean, having it massively exposed. So it's a tough one. It's a very cutthroat industry, and I do feel for the people that are really good and they don't get the breaks they deserve purely down to politics and all the bullshit that goes on yet again. But like as you say, you'll have that TikTok star, YouTube star that will get the gig, the radio gigs, and it's just because they have that power and that influence and they're able to engage, which is a good thing to the audience. They're going to be the winners. So it is tough, but yet again, if you're a good journalist, if you're good doing podcasts and doing radio stuff, your time comes. And yet again, it looks that way for Megan now, where like she's getting, what I mean, great stuff out there, and that will do the talking and that will do the stats and the numbers. And what I mean, this time next year we'll have to reach out to our agent and say, look, we had Megan on with us there 12 months ago. Can we get her back on now? And we won't be able to go directly through Megan. And that's what it's all about. Look, it's great to see stuff like that.
Yeah, she's gonna try just an arm and a leg now. That's how excuses she's gonna be. But I can hear the both of you like go on forever now. Like, but we will be going on to Bad Blood. Um,
Right.
that's the main thing was like we'll do it. But like, no, this is actually really kind of like the best way to put it is really stick with your guns in that way. I understand when Jerry says it's that TikTok star, the rising star. Just don't follow in that area. Just do what you want to do, what you have for you. Don't follow what's going on now, like the must thing now. So that's the best way to
Ah,
put it.
listen, credit to the TikTok stars and credit to the YouTube stars because these motherfuckers they can make so much in 1 week that we could probably make in 2 years. These guys, Mr. Beast, there's a guy called Mr. Beast. My son was telling me about Mr. Beast. This guy is almost a billionaire, I think, or maybe he could be a billionaire. I don't know, but like credit where it's due. Like I'm not taking away nothing from these guys. It's just these guys have no intentions of being on the radio or being, like this and that, but they end up getting them gigs because it's just one of them things they fall into that pattern. So like I'm not trying to ditch them, but it's just one of them things where you have a really good presenter, a journalist, interviewer, and they're going to be overlooked because you have that mega star right next to us. That's the TikTok star, and that's just how it works. You know what I mean? But let that be motivation to do something and to drive on a bit more.
Yeah. Oh, Trevor. No, that I hear what you're saying. That's the best way to put it. But no, guys, it was actually great talk. So all in all, Meg, all we're gonna say is fuck them up. Fuck them up. Keep
Yeah,
them up.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, remember, I would say just keep the story of the tortoise and the hare in mind, and it's okay to be the tortoise. Remember, the tortoise wins in the end. At some point, like every fad, every trend, it dies down. There's going to be a time, and this isn't coming for the TikTokers, because I got a 13-year-old, so he's kind of into that stuff now. But just like the way Snapchat was a couple of years ago, these things do eventually die down. So just keep the most important thing is to keep building your own personal brand. So even when you're working for other companies, continue to build your own personal brand. because when you jump from different companies or you move up, you know, they're not going to really remember all of the companies that you work at. They're going to remember you yourself as a person. And that is what is going, that is what people remember, you, not so much of the companies that you work with. I've learned that. I've definitely learned that.
Make them remember you. Nice one, Meg. Nice one. And yeah, so make sure you like, you have love in your heart. Make sure you actually have respect. Try and avoid any bad blood that's going on. Unlike this weekend. So moving on to bad blood real quick, guys. Like we understand, like you said, you're a busy woman. Jerry, you're a busy man yourself. Did you get a chance to catch up on some WWE bad blood this weekend?
Yes, I watched it live. I mean, all the matches did good. I thoroughly enjoyed the Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk and Drew. Um, I saw the video or the pictures earlier today. Like Drew really got cut up pretty badly during his match. Um, I think I was what, 2 and 3. I think I've only got two matches right, which was um Naya and
Really?
Ian. Naya and Damien. I thought Rhea was going to get her title. She didn't. I just knew Jacob and Solo was going to win. They didn't, but I did enjoy the ending to that whole charade. And surprisingly, I guess for whatever reason, I wanted Drew to win to continue the feud between him and CM Punk, but I guess they felt like the Hell in a Cell should have been the final curtain call for them too. So just let it die with this match. And
Yes.
like I said, that match definitely did its due diligence. It was a really good match.
Yeah, I think to me that was probably the best match. It was a bold move having it as an opener, but to me that was probably one of the best Hell in a Cell matches we had in a long time, long time. Jay, what's your thoughts on Bad Blood, my man?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't watch it live, unfortunately. It's just we're kind of caught here, like when it's 3, 4, 5 a.m. job to finish. But it's loved it. 5 matches, you know what I mean? The matches weren't too long. It all happened so fast. Punk and McIntyre was outstanding. Nia Jax obviously defeating Bailey. That was a great match. Priest beating Finn Balor. Rhea Ripley looked $1 million, obviously defeating Liv Morgan via disqualification. And Cody and Roman beating the Bloodline was class. The Rock coming out at the end and doing this kind of like, as in like
Mm,
you're getting it. Loved it. It was good, guys. They've really been on a roll these last couple of months. There's no wasting time. They're doing the matches at the right times. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bad Blood, and I thought it was great, guys. I really did.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't, and I wasn't doubting Bad Blood at all, but I had a feeling that was it was like a pretty good lineup. So going in, I actually thought it was like this is actually a really good pay-per-view. So of course,
Mhm.
I've CM Punk probably the best match of the night. It's like what Megan said. I'm not hating the rivalry, but I really don't want them to drag it out even further. I think just like
right.
leave it the way it is. Of course, have a bit of like reunions like at the Royal Rumble match with Drew and CM Punk, but that's kind of about it at the moment. And of course, like Jerry said, the ending has to be with The Rock coming out. It's like you would think that he's coming after Cody, coming after Roman, but like I feel like time will tell, and I would love to see because I feel like this is the thing that has to happen. Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. This time we really want to see this one actually
Yeah,
happening.
it's
And
happening.
Yeah,
yeah. Now, this isn't technically called part of Bad Blood, but it's part of Bad Blood and Spirit. Now, Meg, we upload this show like on Thursday, so it's after Raw, so we're defeating the purpose. But Sammy versus Gunther is going to be happening.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Now, Jerry, you were saying that you have a sneaking suspicion that The Rock's back, but we have another certain superstar coming back in Goldberg. We want to talk about that real quick, my man.
Yeah, last match. He's going to face Gunther. I believe it's his last match. I think it's listen, Goldberg's a legend, like he gets criticized a lot for injuring people and being clumsy and stuff. But listen, what he done in WCW that time was huge. I like Bill Goldberg, I've been lucky enough to meet him. You were there as well, Matt, that day. We met him in Dublin, and he's a nice guy. He's really at peace these days. Well, yeah, Goldberg's back. I'm all for him facing Gunther if it happens. I don't know when it's going to happen, but yeah, I think one final match for Goldberg, and I hope he goes out on a good match. And I hope he looks $1 million. And yeah, look, I'm a sucker. I'm a cheesy guy, and I think look, I'd watch it, and great way to bow out and happy days.
Yeah. Meg, what about yourself? Goldberg come back and predictions for Gunther and Sammy.
Um, well, if it's anything like with John Cena, well, now that he's on his retirement tour, um, I can kind of see, I would hope that it's Goldberg kind of pushes Gunther in a sense, but I kind of agree with Jerry too. If this is going to be his last match, then it more than likely should end with him winning. But then when you think of like Ric Flair lost his retirement match as well. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I guess it would be good to see him. I mean, we just had Bret Hart on the show not too long ago, and now we have Goldberg. So I can see Triple H is really tapping into a lot of those wrestlers and, giving them these final moments, I guess, or a moment to reflect. So but I can go with what Jerry said. I hope that it's to his liking.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much stuff going on in wrestling. What can we say? Like we said, Bad Blood taking over this week. So much going on. Of course, we got OTT coming up coming up with Judgment Day, 10th anniversary. Myself and Jerry be there. We're gonna have Megan probably down the line in Ireland. You never know. Come on down.
Yeah, I
That's
would love that. I'm
yeah.
down for it.
Right. So about to wrap up. So Megan Amber's on the spot. Where are we gonna find you?
You can find me on Twitter at I am Megan Ambers or Instagram at Megan Ambers. Every Sunday, well, not every Sunday, but Sunday night spotlight every Sunday at 5 p.m. on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel. I have not updated on Body Slam, so but you can look at all my other articles on there and the link to my podcast should be up on my Instagram right now.
Yeah, we'll check it out. You guys check it out. Thank you very much for watching. Megan, thank you very much for coming on board. Jerry, you're a gent as always. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time.